In this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you a usage of the layer shader in Maya. Now, I'm going to be using it for applying this label to our can of paint. The model isn't really accurate, but this is just trying to show you how to use the layered shader. I should also mention right now this is different from my layered texture tutorial. These are two completely different nodes in Maya. So let's get started. Here's our paint can's label. I have it open in Adobe Photoshop, and as you can see, we have a mask or transparency channel for this image, and we'll be using that to decide what shader will be the Lambert shader, which will be our label, or the blend shader, which will be our can, or anything that isn't covered by the label. The label itself, like I said, will be a Lambert, and its color will be coming also from this image. Now, I've saved this image as a TIFF, but you could also save it as a PNG or PNG file, or any other image that can support transparency in Maya. Back to Maya. I will close the render view for now, and let's get started with our label. We'll do the label's texture first. So select your model and assign a new Lambert to it. How you do this is completely up to you, and the next thing I want you to do is go to Window, Rendering Editors, Hypershade. To open this up as well, let me just clear out the nodes I previously created, and let's get started. So we have this Lambert 3. That's our new Lambert we just assigned to our can, and now we want to assign our label to it. So I'll go to Color, create a new file, and select our texture, which is called Can TIF. First thing you should notice in Maya, since the image was saved with transparency, assuming you did save it with transparency, because if you go to File, Save As, and say save it as a TIFF, give some sort of a name, you will have the option to save transparency. Always make sure you check that option, otherwise this transparency will go to the wayside, like I say back in Maya. And as you can see, the logo has already been applied to the model, and the transparency removing the pixels that are not colored. That's done by Maya automatically. To see Maya set this up, right click on Lambert 3 and click Graph Network, and you will see it's connected not only the color channels to this Lambert shader, but it has also connected the transparency channels of this file node to our Lambert shader. So this shader is already set to become our label. But now we need our blend shader for the rest of the can. So what I'm going to do is go to under the Create Maya Node section of the Hypershade. You may have to select it by clicking on the text and selecting the option Create Maya Nodes. And under Surface, I'm going to be creating a blend, and I'm also going to be creating my layered shader. Now this is where the mixing of the two shaders will happen. To do this, we first need to load our Lambert into the layered shader as it goes on top of the blend. So it's first, because topmost material is if it's transparent, you'll see through the material beneath it, which goes from left to right. So to load the Lambert shader into our layered shader, middle mouse button drag and drop Lambert 3 into the layered shader's attribute box. Now that Lambert's 3 in there, click the X on this green color to remove it. Now then, the next thing we need to do is load our blend. So go back to your layered shader, middle mouse button click, drag and drop it into the box. So now we have our two shaders. We want to make sure the compositing flag for Lambert 3 is set to layered texture. That means it will treat the transparency as a mask. So once that's done, I'm going to select our paint can, right click on Layered Shader 1, and click Assign Material to Selection. Now, as you can see, roughly in the viewport, we have our gray material sitting underneath our logo. Label. Click to render, and you can see the results. But just for a nicer image, I'm going to set the renderer to Mentoray, I'll use the automated environment setup. Create another quick rendering. And there's our texture. Thanks for watching this tutorial.